question.
Yes.
Because
First.
how long have you been dancing salsa first?
Too long.
In terms of year.
40 years.
40 years.
40.
You started like 20.
I started learning when I was 12 from my sister.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay. And because, so the story I saw on the web that you started salsa because of a girl that invited you to a party.
Which is the reason why a lot of guys learn how to dance. Because your girl leaves you for somebody else. Because you don't know how to dance.
Yeah.
At 12 years old, puppy love. I couldn't dance, so she left me, went with her ex-boyfriend. And I said, okay, I understand. I said, I have to learn how to dance. And I started learning.
That was a true story.
That was true, and not only true, but I also realized it was probably meant to be because I never knew I had even talent for dancing. Sometimes things happen to us for a reason. You know, we think it's coincidence. It's probably, if that would have never happened, I may have never discovered that I had abilities.
So when
Yes,
did you
it's true.
realize you got ability for?
What's that?
No, she cannot.
No, but when
When
did you
did
realize that you got
When?
talent?
Oh yes.
Well, from that incident there, when I started learning, I got really interested because I liked it. I liked the music, and so as years went on, by the time I was 17 years old, I was probably one of the best dancers already in the whole scene. And then I aspired to want to be a professional because I saw Tito Puente play one time for this team called Augie and Margot at the Roseland Ballroom. And when I saw that team, I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I want to dance professionally, and I always loved Tito's music, so I wanted to work with him.
Oh, okay.
So this was all part of my vision and dream of wanting to be a professional dancer to work with Tito Puente.
Because one of the questions was, where did you get your inspiration? So that, I mean, from the music point of view was Tito.
Tito, and from the dance point of view, Augie and Margot.
How do you write that?
Oh yeah, Augie, A-U-G-I-E. As a matter of fact, this year in April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, I'm going to be in Miami receiving the Augie and Margot Award. They're going to present it to me. You know what that means to me? Not even, I got something from President Bush that is not as important to me as Augie and Margot.
Yeah.
Yes, because this is the team that inspired me to seek this career as a professional.
Oh yes.
They're good friends of mine. But they called me up and said, Eddie, guess what? This year, Augie and Margot are going to present to you personally the Augie and Margot Award at a big Hustle Salsa festival in Miami. And I was like, what? I said, my God, that's more than I can ask for. Beautiful.
Okay, I try to follow the question.
Yes, it's
yeah,
better.
because we haven't followed
Yes.
already because I thought you got inspiration by Jojo Smith.
Jojo Smith, as a dancer from the neighborhood, he was a jazz teacher. Jojo Smith taught jazz, and he used to go to the nightclubs with his partner and do mambo jazz.
Okay.
All right.
It was, wow, and I liked that, so I used to watch him.
And what about June Laberta?
Yes.
She's the reason why everybody's counting 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Explain us.
When I met that lady in a nightclub called the Corso, where Tito used to play, on Sundays I used to go there. I used to see this little Italian lady dancing. I said, man, she dances so good. She was one of the dancers from the famous Palladium era, from the 50s. Older woman, when I met her, she was already about 60 years old. And I said, man, she dances so good. So I used to ask her to dance with me. So I'd be dancing with her, and all the guys would tell me, yo, why are you dancing with grandma? All these beautiful women waiting to dance with you. You dance with her? I said, this lady dances with more flavor, more
Yes.
inside soul than all these young kids. And so as I got to know her, she told me, Eddie, you know, you have a talent. Why don't you let me help you, educate you in how to explain your movements in timing with music? Because I was already teaching, but I was teaching right hand here, left hand here, step here, cross here. No concept.
What age were you?
When I started teaching, I was about 16.
16, and when you met...
And you know how I got into teaching? The guys that I grew up with, my friends, Eddie, teach me that step. So I would take them into a recreation center across the street from my house. We would get a little record player, and I would be, oh, ba, 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 ba. And I would start teaching. So I liked teaching. So I started teaching for free.
Yes.
For free. And then when she saw that I liked teaching, she said, I want you to teach in my studio, but you have to learn theory, counting. I said, what? She goes, you gotta learn how to count and how to explain your... I said, I can't be counting numbers and beats while I'm dancing. I feel it here. She goes, no. She goes, it's like a person who plays the piano by ear and someone who reads music. The the one that reads music is more prepared. I said, man, 2 years. Eddie, learn music. Man. No. She finally got me tired. I was like, okay, all right, teach me. Like this. This is a quarter note. She said like that. This is a measure.
Yes.
4/4. These are quarter notes. She explained the whole thing to me. She says, this is what we call common time. 4 beats in a measure. You can put them together and you count from 1 to 8. Then you have the clave. You have the 3/2 clave. You have, and she went on and on. Week after week, I was like a person going to school. I wasn't too smart. I never finished high school. I was like, I gotta count beats. That's mathematics, man. That's hard. Eddie, come on. Clave. Okay, June. At first I fought her. She says, one day you're gonna thank me. She says, you're gonna thank me. I said, yeah. And then she always had, not a video, a Super 8 camera.
Oh, yes.
Because they didn't have videos. Late 60s, early 70s, she had a Super 8 camera without sound. She used to videotape without sound. I said, June, I can't hear that. She goes, it has no sound. So she started making money that she bought on with sound. And everywhere she went, I would dance, I would rehearse, I would teach. I said, June, man, put the camera down, let's dance. She goes, no, you danced. One day you'll see what this is about. So, after all those years of her taping, she had cancer. She died of cancer because she smoked too much.
Oh, yes.
She dies, all right? I felt like I lost, almost like a mother, because she was very close to me. We got very close. And I get a phone call about a month after she dies. Eddie, I have something for you. Come down to the studio. June left something for you. I said, what? I go see this person. She had a box like this, full, with the little films.
Yes, films.
Super 8.
Super 8, yes.
She had wrote me a letter. This is for you, blah, blah, blah. She says, one day, he says, you're going to need the history of who you are and how you started and how you became a teacher. And my job, I feel, was just to help you in the process. And when people ask me, who helped you? I tell I never took a dance class. I never studied with anybody. Because June says, Eddie, you don't need to learn how to dance. You're an inventor. You invent ideas and you create, you compose. What you need is to theoretically know how to translate and transmit your work to people. And she says, and this is the best way to do it. And she says, in every step that you do, you have to bring a name to it. I said, but how do you do that? She goes, for example, this step that you do like this, in the ballroom world, we call that Susie Q. Susie Q. She goes, so now for mambo steps, I'm going to give you the first name. That's called the Susie Q. So I wrote Susie Q. She goes, when you make up a step, think about it. Use your imagination and start to bring names to your step. So I would go, okay, this is a step that I saw the Cubans do. I'm going to call that the Cuban step, right? And this step is a zigzag, is a twist. I said, oh, I'm going to call that zigzag. And this one is a Cuban side hop. And this one, I said, I feel like a slave on a chain. I said, I'm going to call that the slave. So I started thinking of all these names.
So finally, because most of the people doesn't even know that you're the one that created all these things, put name on it, put timing on it. Okay.
You know, it's funny. People think that I get very bothered by it. I mean, it's nice to have recognition for what you do. But you know, what I'm happy about is I don't care if they don't even know where it came from. For me, I'm just happy that the dance is now popular, and because it was dying, Fred. One of the reasons why I started working hard, because the hustle dance hit New York. And the hustle blew the mambo out of the way. Everybody, all my friends who danced mambo, they were now dancing hustle, teaching the hustle. And I was the only teacher trying to get people to dance mambo. And even when I used to say, Fred, come to my classes for free. No, I'm going to a hustle class, Eddie. The mambo's dead. I said, you crazy? I said, the hustle is nothing but turn patterns that we invented in the mambo. No, that's the new craze. Everybody hustle, 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 hustle.
Maybe give more details about hustle.
Well, the hustle was the dance from the 70s. When it came to New York, you know, they had a program called Dance Fever with Danny Terrio. And all the teams were doing all this hustle acts, right? You've seen them, right?
It's more like rock and roll. More like rock and roll.
Well, it's a lot of turns, a lot of tricks.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
That's the hustle.
Rock acrobat.
A lot of people don't know the difference between mambo and salsa. Can you
Yeah.
explain what is the
That's the
difference?
most popular question asked. And I'll tell you what they asked Tito and what he said. Mr. Puente, what is the difference between mambo and salsa? He goes, well, that's easy. He says, mambo you dance and salsa you eat. He says, what is salsa but sauce, right? He never liked the name. I didn't like it either.
Yes, I understand that.
I didn't like it because I knew the origins of this dance was mambo, a rhythm, a dance, cha-cha-cha, a rhythm, a dance, tango, right? Flamenco. I was very upset. I said, no, why does somebody want to change the name of this? Now they started to say, because we dance on one, we call it salsa. When you dance on two, you call it mambo. I said, I got news for you. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they were dancing on one back then. They were dancing on two back then, on three back then, on four back then. It was all mambo. It was just a different timing for the mambo. But then somebody came out with the idea because mambo, the name and the idea was old. So they started using the word salsa. And from what I understand, Graciela, the singer, was the first one that started using salsa. Y después que le ponga salsa, she started using it, so it became catchy, like azúcar.
Yeah.
And so the name started to catch. And I think it's cute if you scream it while you're dancing, salsa, oh, claro, vaya. But when I heard that now they're calling the music and the dance salsa, and when Tito, they call him the king of Latin music, he says, now they call me the king of salsa. He says, now which salsa am I the king of? Libby's, Heinz, Del Monte? He says, ragu? Which sauce am I the king of?
Yes.
All right.
He says, but now the word salsa, I use it now because people call me up, Eddie, do you teach salsa? No, I teach mambo. No, thank you. I don't want to learn mambo. I want to learn salsa. If I don't go with the change,
Yes.
you don't
Must
work.
adapt.
Even you again. After. So how was, okay, when you were 20, how does mambo looks like? Is it very close to what we do? Is it completely different? Because you see what we call salsa, more Cuban, is like in round and blah blah blah. Mambo is more in line. And how does it look like 50 years ago?
Well, now here's what's happening. Just like back in the day, no one ever called what you did. In my time, no one knew about timing until I came with the whole idea of teaching the timing. When you danced in a club, people said, hey, Fred, I like your style. They didn't know what timing you were on. No one came up to you and said, oh, you dance on one, Fred. They didn't know, Fred. You know who Freddie Rios is from the Mambo, from the Cha-Cha Aces, the Mambo Legends?
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of him?
Yeah. Yes.
Good friend of mine. He used to go to the clubs because he knew I was a dance teacher, and he used to watch people dancing. He says, Eddie, do me a favor. These people, they're off timing. They're messed up. He says, teach them how to dance in clave. Nobody knew. Nobody knew counting. Nada. So now, notice today we have now people educated, which I think is good, but it's caused a lot of controversy, a lot of confusion, a lot of animosity, right? People are now arguing, oh, the one is better than the two, oh, the two. And now you hear things like New York style, LA style, Cuban style, Puerto Rico, Italy. You got all these stories.
But it's more for economy, I think. No.
Of course, whenever money is involved, it changes the face and the meaning of everything. Okay? It really does. Right now, I knew people in these congresos, when they first started out, the first congresos were only going to bring on stage real, authentic, mambo dancing and salsa dancing. We're going to keep the levels separated, right? We're not going to put amateurs. As soon as they start making money, you have clowns on stage dressed like Bozo, McDonald, Ronald McDonald. You got all kinds of, and I look at this I said, what the hell is going on here?
So that's a good point.
Money.
How do you see the evolution of mambo? Well, I mean, now today you travel again, because you were always in New York, but now you travel again. How do you see the evolution of mambo around the world?